So we get into the handstand. How do we get out? This is just going to be discussing some options for how you can try and save yourself while you're still in the handstand. And if it comes time to decide that, all right, I'm going down, I need to bail, what are some safe options to get out? So let's go first with building your pose from the ground up. Let's say you jump into the handstand with a little too much force, or maybe you're going to make a little transition and you go too quickly and you feel yourself start to move to the backside. All right? You have your fingers first and foremost. So I want you to stand up, find your feet, and curl your toes back towards your face. Now find yourself in this alignment, and rather than folding at the hips, try and just lean forward, keeping your body in alignment. And notice what happens. Your toes come down naturally to save you. And as your toes come down, you press into them. It engages the calves and some muscles behind your leg, and the lower part of the ankle and the Achilles, and you feel yourself kind of straighten and you're pulled back down. And so similarly, in our handstand, as we're about to go over, if we can really feel the weight come into the fingers, that's when the balance begins. You want to find your fingers, rip your fingers down, so you're going to press into the floor, squeeze the fingers back towards the hand, really press into the hands, and that should hopefully give you a little more stability and connection to all the tendons and ligaments and these extensors here that not only protect your wrist, they keep you stabilized. So as you're about to go over, really find your fingers first. See if that can help you. From here, as you find your fingers, connect to the pad of your hands and press down into the ground even more. So two things that could happen, which could have caused this, and maybe your hips came out of alignment, and so maybe your shoulders came out of alignment, and therefore as your body leans forward, boom, your fingers catch it. So if your shoulders are what came out of alignment, not only do we want to catch it with our fingers, but maybe we're now extending through the arms and just tucking our chin a little bit more. So notice if your head's out, maybe you're just going to tuck your chin and press into the floor. All right? Let's work up to the hips. Is there an arch in your back? Is that what's bringing you over? Maybe you have a banana back, you kicked it with your feet, and rather than letting your hips stack first, your feet come all the way over. So you have this like little arch shape, and you're about to go over, but you really don't know if you're safe to fall into a wheel. And so at that point, first let's see if we can bring the hips back before we bail. Okay, and so if you have this arch in your back, this anterior tilt in the pelvis, the idea is that we want to neutralize the hips. And so find your feet first. If they're back, maybe we bring one knee in, and look what that does to the pelvis. It neutralizes, it takes it from anterior, at least to neutral, and maybe even to posterior. So it's not only bringing weight forward, but it's bringing your center of gravity and your hips forward and centered, and hopefully by bringing your knee, either one or both, in the opposite direction, it'll either help you catch your balance or fully pull you back down towards your feet. So always remember, if your legs are over, bring one or both knees into your chest as an option. All right, and so remember, you can find your fingers. As you find your fingers, you can tuck your chin really around and press into your arms to restack your shoulders. If your hips are out of stack, you can bring one or both knees back, finding a neutral tailbone and pelvis, and really focusing on where your feet are. And lastly, at this point, you really want to try and find that balance between I can catch myself and okay, I need to find a safe way out of here. And use your discretion. When it's time to bail, if you can anticipate that a moment before and kind of look for where you're going to land, it'll really allow you to come down slower and with more intention. So before you begin your practice, make sure you have some room on both sides. All right, you want some space to be able to cartwheel out in both directions if possible. You want to be able to forward roll out the front if you need to, or fall into bridge or a wheel. So let's just talk about what those look like real quick. All right, so let's say I'm in a handstand and I'm about to go over. When I say cartwheel out, we're going to look to one side and kind of step our feet down. Okay, so because I have a wall here, I'm going to turn my body this way, and you can orientate yourself the same. So find your handstand. Then I'm going to come out by looking to the right, bringing the right foot down, and then you can intentionally, slowly come up with the other foot. All right, so that's one option. I really just encourage you to get used to choosing a side to try and cartwheel out on, and that way you are more in control of the direction and the speed, and really everything about you are lowering rather than the handstand controlling you. So it's really about just trying to have more time in your hands. understanding that moment when you come out of balance and trying to see what your body innately wants to do and going with it if it likes to go right versus left there. So that's one option. Another option is, let's say that you are really far into your backside, you don't feel like you can catch yourself in your fingers, you're planching, you feel like your head's coming towards the floor, which is probably, I know, one of the scariest things or biggest fears in inversions, hand balancing. Tuck your chin, okay? Remember, you have hands. So although this may be going bad and there might be a crash landing, you can still save the most important parts of your body as far as safety goes: neck, spinal cord, head. All right, so if you're going down and you can't save it, I really want you to think about, just like you're going down a chaturanga, using your hands to slow it down first of all, and allow yourself to bend your arms and press into the floor. So slow your descent. At the same time, tuck your chin. It's gonna become a forward roll, okay? And that's something fun to practice almost. It's just like putting a little bit weight into your hands, tucking your chin, rolling out. So always making sure you have space to do a little forward roll. As long as you tuck your chin, trying to land somewhere on the upper back or shoulders and coming out. Lastly, if you have a bridge or wheel, I encourage you to warm it up and maybe work with a partner or work in a place that you feel safe, maybe with some cushion on one end or the other, to allow yourself, once you're warm, to fall out into this, to understand this is a safe place, and to know that this is a possibility for you. All right, and so those are your options for exit, but again, I highly, highly, highly encourage you not to bail. So if you can find your fingers, really re-engage your arms, tuck your chin, reset your hips first, do so. Save your handstand. But if it's time to go, be safe, have fun on your hands, all right? But most importantly, I just want you to protect yourself and your practice. So now know that you can approach this practice safely and with some excitement. Have fun.